Today, the world shifted again. Just hours ago, on the morning of March 8, 2026, Iran's Assembly of Experts, the powerful clerical body responsible for selecting the country's supreme leader, announced that it had reached a decisive consensus. A new supreme leader of the Islamic Republic of Iran has been chosen. But here's the twist. The name has not yet been officially announced to the public. However, intelligence agencies, diplomats, and senior officials across multiple continents already believe they know who it is. According to nearly every credible intelligence assessment and Iran analyst with inside sources, the frontrunner is Mojtaba Khamenei, the 56-year-old son of the late Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who was reportedly killed in U.S. and Israeli strikes just days ago. But there's an even bigger detail that most headlines are ignoring. Only 72 hours ago, in an interview with Axios published on March 5th, President Donald Trump made an extraordinary statement. Looking directly into the camera, he said, "I have to be involved in the appointment." Let that sink in. The President of the United States publicly stated that he must personally be involved in selecting the next supreme leader of Iran. That single sentence may be one of the most unprecedented foreign policy statements ever made by a U.S. president. And now, it's happening in real time, as Iran moves forward with choosing its next leader, apparently ignoring that demand. Before we dive deeper into who Mojtaba Khamenei is, why intelligence reports describe him as potentially more radical than his father, and what Trump's demand could mean legally and militarily, make sure you like the video and subscribe. This story is moving faster than almost any geopolitical crisis in recent memory, and the official announcement could happen within hours. When it does, everything changes. For 34 years, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei served as Iran's supreme leader. His death created the biggest leadership vacuum in the Islamic Republic's history. Under Iran's constitution, the Assembly of Experts, made up of 88 senior clerics, has the sole authority to choose his successor. And events have moved extremely quickly. March 1st, Khamenei's death is confirmed. March 3rd, multiple reports identify Mojtaba Khamenei as the leading candidate. March 5th, Trump says he must be personally involved in the decision. March 7th, Assembly members signal a decisive majority is forming. March 8th, today, the Assembly announces consensus has been reached. The name will be announced soon, but the reporting coming out today adds a crucial detail. According to officials cited by Al Jazeera, the candidate was selected based on advice left by the late Supreme Leader himself. His guidance was simple. The successor should be someone hated by the enemy. Specifically, someone disliked by the United States and Israel. And intelligence assessments describe Mojtaba Khamenei as holding strong anti-Western views and potentially being more ideological and confrontational than his father. In other words, this may not be a moderate replacing a hardliner. It could be a hardliner replacing an even stronger hardliner. Meanwhile, Reuters reports that the Assembly of Experts has already completed the selection process, and the formal announcement is expected soon. Some members even participated through remote voting due to the ongoing military strikes across Iran. Think about that. Iran selected its next supreme leader while bombs were still falling. The country did not pause. It did not wait. It made its decision in the middle of a war, and that decision could define the next phase of the conflict. At the same time, Iran's state media released another key detail. The new leader has already received full intelligence briefings on the current military situation, including the progress of what the Pentagon calls Operation Epic Fury, which began on February 28th. And according to officials, the new leader has already signaled one thing clearly: Iran will continue resistance at every level. This is not a temporary caretaker. This is a wartime supreme leader. The international reaction has been immediate. The White House issued a statement saying the United States does not recognize the legitimacy of any leadership process that is not freely chosen by the Iranian people. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu responded within minutes, saying Iran's leadership will be judged by its actions. And President Trump posted on Truth Social, "Iran just picked a leader. Wrong choice. Should have listened to me. Very bad for Iran." The message was posted before the official name was announced, suggesting the U.S. may already know who was chosen. But the situation is complicated. Supporters of Trump argue his position is based on strategic reality. The United States is currently involved in military operations against Iran. Who leads Iran next could determine whether the war escalates or moves toward negotiation. If the new leader refuses diplomacy entirely, the conflict could drag on indefinitely. But critics argue that demanding involvement in selecting another country's leader violates international norms and risks strengthening the most hardline factions inside Iran. In fact, several governments, including China, Russia, and Turkey, have already criticized the statement as interference in Iran's sovereignty. Inside Iran, the leadership struggle has been intense. For decades, Ayatollah Khamenei was the constant figure holding the system together. His death opened a battle between three major factions: pragmatists who want negotiations with the West, hardline revolutionary figures connected to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, and a smaller group pushing for nuclear deterrence as Iran's ultimate security guarantee. If Mojtaba Khamenei becomes supreme leader, analysts believe the hardline faction has won, and their message is simple: no surrender, no negotiation under pressure, and long-term deterrence against foreign threats. Experts warn that a new leader taking power during a war often escalates first before considering compromise. Meanwhile, global markets are already reacting. Oil prices jumped dramatically today, with Brent crude rising more than 11% in a single morning. Nearly 20% of the world's oil supply passes through the Strait of Hormuz, and any escalation in the region could send energy prices skyrocketing worldwide. That means higher gas prices, higher shipping costs, and more pressure on the global economy. The stakes are enormous. There are currently 40,000 U.S. troops stationed across the Gulf region, and the conflict has already resulted in casualties. If Iran's new leadership doubles down on resistance, the war could enter a much more dangerous phase. And right now, the world is waiting. Within hours, Iran is expected to officially announce its next supreme leader. When that happens, the next chapter of this crisis begins. Whether the new leader chooses escalation, negotiation, or something even more dramatic, like accelerating Iran's nuclear program, could reshape the balance of power in the Middle East for decades. So, stay tuned. Because when the announcement drops, everything changes.